do it, and he fucking piston. That dude came out like a boss. That man came out ready to go. He came out swinging from the get go, and I mean a huge power punch. He just threw it at Vicente Luque, overhand right, as hard as he could. Uh, Luque covered up and went past his head, and it was just a fucking firefight from there. It was a firefight, and Woodley got too aggressive, man. Too aggressive. He got too aggressive. I mean, this is the story in the Almeida fight. He got too aggressive and got connected on. In the Luque fight, he got aggressive and got connected on. And unfortunately, in the main event, but he showed good. I mean, it was nice. It was nice and refreshing to see the Tyron Woodley of old. It was refreshing to see the Tyron Woodley that um you know he went out there and gave it his all. He was out there ready to go out on his shield, and he went out on his shield. He was he it was a Tyron Woodley of old, and unfortunately, the Tyron Woodley of old got finished. But it was nice to see him come out like a fucking piston. We haven't seen that since the Robbie Lawler fight or the Darren Till fight. Darren Till fight, he came to destroy. He was a destroyer of worlds, and he showed it. And it was great. It was great to see it. It was great to see it. I was super impressed, very very happy. See him come out, went out on the shield. It was a great fight. And unfortunately for him, Vicente Luque read his movements, hit him in an opening when he was coming in aggressive, and I mean, he worked him for a while and finally got him in a um Darce choke, and yeah, made him tap. Luckily, he didn't need any more damage. That was one thing I didn't enjoy about that fight was the amount of damage that Woodley took. That was just unnecessary. The amount of damage that Woodley took. Anyway, so moving on to the main event, Stipe Miocic versus your new champion, Francis the Predator Ngannou. Great champion, scary monster. I mean, he is. When you talk about the heavyweight champion of the world, there are certain aspects of it that make them enticing. Because the heavyweight champion of the world is probably the most um, coveted champion of all the champions. You get the lightweight champion and people love it because it's super competitive. Flyweight champion, same thing. They're super fast. The women's bantamweight champion, they're the most powerful of the three weight classes or four weight classes that they have. There's 145, but the 145 is not all that deep. There's also the light heavyweight champion. There's John Jones because it's John Jones, and plus that was a star-studded champion way back in the day. But the most coveted championship in all of combat sports is the heavyweight champion. They're the most badass champions that any organization can have. I mean, yeah, the Mike Tyson's back in the day where he was just a fucking wrecking machine. There was Muhammad Ali that was a wrecking machine. There was Brock Lesnar who was a wrecking machine. There was Andrei Arlovsky who looked like Wolverine. These are the Cain Velasquez, Fedor Emelianenko, all these greats that came in, they were considered the great, 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 and you want your champions to look like monsters, otherworldly in their appearance. And that's exactly what Ngannou looks like. He looks like an action figure. I mean, he's 260, he's every bit of 265 pounds, and he looks chiseled. I mean, he is a monster. The dude comes out powerful, athletic, well spoken, humble in certain aspects, and he's every bit of a champion that you would want to be a champion. But on the other hand, my personal favorite champion of all time, favorite champion is Stipe Miocic. He's just a blue collar, hard nosed, keep your eyes to the dirt and just fucking move forward champion. He just puts in the work. He was never super uber talented. He was always the underdog in his fights coming in, and he always won. Always won. I mean, he defended his title I think the most out of any champion that's ever done it. I think he has four title defenses with four title wins or two title wins. He has six title fights in the heavyweight division where it's 4-2, you know. Oh no, he's only lost his title once. So he won, defended, lost, won, defended. All right, so he has six title defenses, one or six title fights, one loss in that, two title wins, and four defenses. Three defenses. Yeah, I mean he's a monster, dude. He's a man. He knew exactly what he was doing. Unfortunately, I don't know what happened. I seen his post fight. I seen the post he made talking about how Ngannou was starting to wear down and get tired, and he was getting tired in the first round, but he recovered. And that's the issue, you know. He should have kept on going for the takedown. Ngannou, maybe he knew, not maybe he knew exactly what to do in terms of defending himself and getting himself up off the ground when Stipe was going in for the wrestling attacks, but the gas tank wasn't there. The gas tank wasn't there. Unfortunately, Stipe let it go because when he took him down and when he was getting back up, he was taking bombs from Ngannou. And dude, holy fuck, man. There's people that have gone down from strikes from Ngannou that weren't nearly as hard of the strikes that Ngannou was landing on Stipe. And Stipe came out of that, just ready to go. What a poker face Stipe has, dude. What a fucking poker face. Man, Stipe's such a monster, dude. He's so underrated. And he came in 30 pounds less. I mean, Francis Ngannou weighed in at 263 pounds. Stipe Miocic weighed 234 pounds. He gave up so much weight, man. So much weight. Wow, what a monster. And he'll go down as the greatest, Ngannou's got to beat three title defenses if he wants to be considered the greatest heavyweight of all time. And I'm not saying he can't do it. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He's got a good team behind him. But you got monsters coming at you, man. And you had the looming fight, the biggest looming fight, John Jones. That was one of the biggest storylines coming into this fight was the winner most likely would face John Jones. And everyone wants Stipe Miocic to come in and fight right off the bat. They want him to fight for the title right off the bat. I don't personally agree with that. I don't necessarily agree that Stipe should fight for the title right away. Number one, because he just got knocked the fuck out in emphatic fashion. The last time he got knocked out like that, it was Stefan Struve, and I think that was like 6-7 years ago. That was a bad knockout, a really, really bad knockout. I hope he goes home and he just loves his family, welcomes his new baby boy into this world and forgets about MMA for a while. He needs to forget about MMA for a while. You don't need to worry about the heavyweight championship right now. It is being taken care of by a very, very, very worthy opponent in Francis Ngannou. And let him fight John Jones, and maybe let him do another title defense and then say, you know what, I'm ready. I'm ready to come back in and come back in for a trilogy if it's Ngannou, or come back in if it's John Jones. John Jones is going to want that fight. John Jones is smart. John Jones wants to fight the greatest of all time, even if he's coming off of a loss. He wants to fight the greatest heavyweight champion of all time. He wants to do that. So say he goes in there and he fights Francis Ngannou, and he beats Francis Ngannou, I would not be surprised if he calls out Stipe. There's no way that he does it, And another opponent that's in the wings that no one's really talking about is Derrick Lewis. Why the fuck is no one talking about Derrick Lewis? Derrick Lewis is a beast. He's been knocking out people just like Francis Ngannou has, and he has a win over Francis Ngannou. Wouldn't you want that back? Wouldn't you want that back? Francis Ngannou didn't even mention Derrick Lewis. What the fuck, dude? I mean, that is a dark horse of the division because he genuinely does not give a fuck. He's a man's man, an everyday man. He's just there to wreck shit, and he's got power, dude, and he's a tank. That dude's skull is fucking thick. His fists are fucking. He's a thick motherfucker, dude. He's another one that's every bit of 265 pounds. I want that fight. That's the fight I want. I want Derek Lewis versus Francis Ngannou. But I'll take John Jones, the greatest light heavyweight of all time coming up. But it's not the greatest heavyweight of all time fighting the greatest. It's not the greatest light heavyweight of all time coming up to fight the greatest heavyweight of all time. It's just the greatest light heavyweight coming up to fight the heavyweight champion. I think it would be good to get Francis Ngannou a couple title defenses to build up that aura, I guess is the best way to put it, to fight John Jones, because John Jones is, I mean, many people consider him the best fighter of all time. I consider him the greatest of all time. He's gone through 3-4 generations of fighters, and he's undefeated. He's never lost a fight. He has one loss on his fight, and he has a couple that were overturned. But inside of the cage, he has yet to lose, and that is something that I hope that they put together. I would really love to see that fight. Whether it happens or not, I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out. We'll find out when we find out. You know what I mean? So we'll get there when we get there. Anyway, those are my what do you call it? Not a. Those are my talking points for those fights. Pretty excited for how that all went down. Again, Peoria Fight Club, another great organization down in Peoria. I suggest you going there and watching those live fights. This Saturday night, there will be a bunch of fighters from Lucas's gym, Too Strong, going down to Peoria Fight Club to represent. I suggest that you go down there and watch these fights, because these fights are killer. They're freaking amazing. They got great energy. The fighters go in there, head to head, ready to go. They're bringing the energy. They're going in. It's great movement, and due the energy that the fighters put in, it just resonates through the crowd. I would highly suggest going there. It's a great time. It's a great time. It's one of the most fun times that I've had in a while, and I would be there, but I'm going to be at Micklett Spring Fling, so I can't be there this Saturday. Otherwise, I would be there interviewing fighters, but I can't be there. I cannot be there, but I would if I could. I would if I could. I do want to say that the one fight I did fight was El Chino, or the one fight that I did watch was El Chino versus Austin Apodaca. A couple things about this fight. Now, it didn't go long. I think it only went one round from what I've seen. It cut off after the first round, and Chino was given the title. He defended his title. But throughout the whole fight, it seemed like Austin Apodaca had responses, has good responses. He was touching El Chino. He was touching him up. He was working him. But the one thing I didn't like was that Austin decided to throw in the towel. And this is a topic that many fighters have so many differing opinions on. There's the school of thought where you go it on a shield. You go in there and you fight until you can't fight anymore. And then there's a school of thought that if you cannot fight anymore, throw in the towel. You're a prize fighter, and if the prize isn't worth, if the juice isn't worth the squeeze, then don't keep on fighting. And as soon as Austin went to the corner in the first round, I'm assuming because I didn't see a second or third round, he threw in the towel on himself, claiming that his legs were gassed. It was too much for him. But that you can accredit that to El Chino's pressure. Chino's a pressure fighter. Don't get it twisted. That dude goes in there to headhunt. He's in there to pressure you. He's in there to gas you. And that's exactly what he did. Unfortunately for Chino, Austin didn't give him a chance to finish him. He threw in the title. And there's a lot of talk about how Austin was winning the fight. And, arguably he was winning the fight, but he didn't win the fight. He pulled out. He pulled out of the fight mid-fight, just quit, threw in the towel, and that was it, Now, Chino has a win over Austin. Who is he going to fight next? I'm really, really excited to see who he fights next. I'm really excited to see who Austin fights next. Work on that cardio, get in there, because that was good movement, good skill. But, man, you get tired off the back foot. That's no secret. You get tired on the back foot. You get tired. And that's exactly what happened to him. He got tired and he got handled. And then he got, threw in the towel. I hope he goes in there and I see him again. I hope Chino goes in there and fights whoever next. And I hope they have a rematch down the road, because I would love to see a fight where Austin doesn't back out, where he doesn't throw in the towel. because I would like to see who wins. I would like to see if he gets tired out again by Chino or if he outworks Chino. Either way, I would like to see that fight again down the road, not immediately. I want to see it down the road. Let both fighters gather momentum to go back in there and do it. Another couple title fights, and who knows, man? He could be on a nice little roll. And that's it. That's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. It was a short one, Tuesday Newsday. I put it together because yesterday I had pre-recorded my segment to shoot at 7 p.m. Turns out it came out at like 2 a.m. I didn't know that. I went to go check it out. So thanks for tuning in. All right, I'm out. Later.